Glad you could join us. Now, some drivers have expressed their displeasure over the increase in fuel prices for the second pricing window in September. The Institute of Energy Security (IES) predicted the rise in fuel prices to the 5 cedi mark from September 16 to September 30. According to the IES, issues of the persistent depreciation of the cedi coupled with increase in final products of gas oil and gasoline contributed to the upward adjustments at the various pumps. My colleague Ifwa Evans Chinwe earlier visited a fuel station nearby and interacted with some drivers.
You're here this morning, and I'm sure that you've heard about this increase. What are your thoughts about it?
I just heard of it this morning, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Why are you not comfortable?
We are not aware. Okay. It just came all of a sudden. Okay. We are not aware, so that's why. Okay. Yes.
So it came as a surprise. Okay. Okay. So you're saying that you're not comfortable about it. What do you suggest, or what do you think should have been done?
It has to be regulated properly.
Okay.
It has to be regulated properly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
Okay. So I spoke with this gentleman who said that he's not comfortable about it, and he's saying that it has to be regulated properly. Let me move on to another motorist. I'm trying to find somebody else to speak with. Let me move to this gentleman here. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Have you heard about the fuel price increase?
I just heard about it about last week.
Okay, so how do you feel about it?
It's quite appalling that in this situation, day in and day out, there's an increment of fuel, which is just affecting the economy. So I think there's something been done about it. But I don't think we are meant to experience such kind of things. It's not in accordance at all, because the expectation we are having for this current government, they're looking at what is at hand. It is just mind blowing, and it's just I don't know, but
so basically you're unhappy about
yes.
it.
Yeah.
I think this is too much burden on the individuals. Fuel prices are being increased, yet our pays are not being increased, so I think this is too much.
Let's stay with the story, and joining me now on the phone is Pakwesi Anawansechi, who is the Executive Secretary of the Institute of Energy Security (IES). Now, Ms. Anawansechi, do you think the consumer is justified in their anger over the new increments?
So long as we have some unjustified levies and taxes on our fuel, the consumer will be worried. And like we discussed in the morning, if it has to do with the international oil price, we don't have a cause to be worried or complain, because we are only price takers. But when our cedi is depreciating fast against the US dollar, and so that it has an impact on our local price, then of course the consumers will be worried, because we have an economic management team that should work to ensure that our cedi is stable and not really depreciating fast against the US dollar.
You mentioned that in the price build-up, there are some tax elements in there. Which are those taxes which, in your view, we can do without?
I think we can easily do away with the special petroleum tax, and we make arguments over and over again that the reason for which it was introduced in 2014 doesn't exist anymore. Crude oil price of slumped in 2014 to the level of $30 per barrel. Government crude revenue was shrinking so fast, and made an argument that they need to shore it up by introducing an extra tax on our fuel. And so they did introduce this. We called it nuisance tax. We argued against it. It came to stay. Then, of course, the then minority now in government promised that when they come to power, they would take it away. They've only been able to reduce it from 17.5 to 13%. And now made it a fixed figure of 46 pesos per liter of fuel. We think that they should make good their word and take that tax away easily. It will be able to also cushion us a bit.
Some would say that since Ghana had a 2 billion revenue shortfall in the year 2018, as of our approach of the mid-year budget review, we would need every little revenue that we can get from the petroleum sector or without.
Definitely, I know government's in a very tight position, but when they did a mid-year review, crude oil on the world market was around $65 mark. Now it's gone up to 78. It means that there is a windfall there, and so government can also cushion itself with that extra. In their own budget, they estimated $58 per barrel. Now we are 78. So at least, if you want to be sincere, if you want to speak to the people for them to understand that you want to make good your word, you will be able to scrap this tax for consumers to be relieved.
Finally, Mr. Adamwasechi, do you think that given the current economic conditions, the price of fuel will go up again?
We can't say for sure whether fuel price will go up again when we cannot dictate to what happens on the international market. We only pray that we have extra supply. Our demand, global demand of crude oil is fair and it's only stable. But when we have squeeze in the supply, then of course, price on the world market will also go up again, and it will impact on the local price. We only pray that we don't have shocks on the international market, and we also pray that we'll be able to manage our cedi against the US dollar so that it doesn't depreciate so fast, or probably we get stability in that.
So what you are saying is that given the level of depreciation we've seen in the past few weeks, we would have to maintain the current level of the cedi so that the price of fuel does not go up again.
We will rather have to even strengthen it against the US dollar so that we will need less cedis to buy the dollar the next time an importer needs to bring in oil, so that they don't transfer the extra cost to the OMC and the OMC will transfer it to the retailers.
Mr. Adamwasechi, we are approaching the end of September. We know that importers often buy more to anticipate Christmas shopping at this time of the year. That could mean that the cedi will see more depreciation. It's often normal for the last quarter of the year.
If we know very well that we cannot manage it within this time that you speak about, then of course you and I will admit that we need to brace ourselves for the worst situation.
The worst situation being another increment in fuel prices?
Possible.
Thank you very much, Pakwesi Adamwasechi. He's the Executive Secretary for the Institute for Energy Security. Now, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, is demanding that government abort plans to, in their words, hand over an expansion of Ghana's digital migration platform to Chinese TV operator StarTimes. GIBA says China's takeover of the platform will be a sharp departure from the digital migration agenda and rather boost the Chinese government's drive to take control of broadcast space in strategic African countries. The government has already missed a number of deadlines to switch from analog to digital broadcasting to improve quality. GIBA's president, David Danso Eninkra, spoke to Bernice Abobedu earlier on News Desk.
I think the truth must be spoken, or the truth must be told, that some time passed here. And because we advocated the contract startup, this money did not come. If we must sell our media space, our media independence, to a foreign entity, it borders on security, it borders on sovereignty, it borders on the democracy of this country. When we are being told in clear terms that we are taking money from the foreign entity to build a studio, to develop content, which will be beamed to selected villages in this country, we need to understand it beyond the ordinary English grammar.
So do you want government to back out of this deal, thus losing out on that loan facility?
We are capable of raising whatever money we need locally. And we've been there, and we are capable of going there again.
Andrew Danso Eninkra is president of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA. Now, Deputy Communications Minister George Anda dismissed claims by GIBA that they were not involved in talks in the deal. In a quick rebuttal, GIBA's president insisted the association has been sidelined by the ministry in recent times.
We have been part of the decision as far back as 2005, even before the ITU signed the agreement in Geneva in 2006. The reason why we are making noise at this time is because for some years now, 3 to 4 years now, decisions are being taken without the involvement of GIBA. it is obvious to us that there are reasons why the ministry is avoiding GIBA.
Speaking to my colleague Roland Walker earlier, he did mention that they had written to you on the matter. Have you received any such a letter or correspondence?
They have written a letter which acknowledges questions we asked, which the questions were not answered. We met with the ministry in February. They told us they were going to do site inspection. They will inform us. They went, they did not include us. We queried why they went without us. They sent us information to say it was audit inspection. Since March, we haven't had anything. Between March and September, we've written not less than 4 letters reminding the ministry of our concerns. Recently, when it became obvious, and now let me say this the way I have to say it, when it became obvious to them that we're not going to sit quietly, then they wrote back to us to acknowledge a letter we wrote about 2 months ago. And that is as recent as 2 weeks ago. And so if he talks about engagement, and he says we've been involved, what is he talking about?
Meanwhile, government has been defending plans to effect the deal. According to Deputy Communications Minister George Anda, the only way Ghana can get the Exim Bank facility is through this deal.
If we want the Exim facility, we have to go with the terms and conditions of the Exim facility.
They have made StarTimes a condition of that facility.
If we have to access the Exim facility, we'd have to go with the conditions that come with the accessing of the facility.
What was the outcome of the arbitration?
Well, I think at the moment there's an MOU that has been signed for the terms of settlement to be closed. But again, it has to go through the right approval. So I'm not sure that I'm in a position to confirm what it is or to talk about it unless it goes through the right approvals.
Did arbitration come out with an outcome that Ghana must secure the services of StarTimes?
I'm not in a position to confirm the details of that. All I can say is that if we are going to access the Exim facility to enhance the network, we would have to work through StarTimes as a condition of accessing the Exim facility.
But you're the Deputy Minister for Communications, so this arbitration and whatever its findings are fall directly into your ambit.
There's a time to give some information, and if the arbitration is not closed, and I've said over and over again that we need to get a right approval. So I don't know why you are pushing for something that I've clearly indicated that it has to go through the right approvals.
Arbitration is not closed?
We'll give that information out when it's time.
Mr. Anda, let's talk about what we are specifically expecting StarTimes to come and do. You've already explained that they are to enhance the system. The network, thank you. Now, once they've done this enhancement, who will manage that network on an ongoing basis?
That is for a decision. That's a decision that the Central Digital Transmission Company will take. They are responsible for managing the network, and so if they decide to do it in-house or decide to outsource it, that's a decision that themselves and their governing board would take up.
Has China added any condition to the Exim facility regarding who manages the network?
I'm not sure that. Well, as far as managing the network is concerned, it is certain, or it will sit with the Central Digital Transmission Company. Okay, the Central Digital Transmission Company would then decide who to use as an O&M partner, whether they are going to do it in-house or whether they're going to outsource it. And I am not a member of the Central Digital Transmission Company, so I cannot preempt what they are going to do.
As the Deputy Minister, can you tell us whether or not the Chinese expect the management of the network to be awarded to StarTimes?
When you say the management of the network, what?
O&M.
Well, I'm sure that even you, if you have the capacity, you expect that you be considered. So anybody that has the capacity to do that, I'm sure that the person or that entity would want to be considered. But again, like I've said, that is the decision that the Central Digital Transmission Company would have to take.
Still watching Joy News today. I am Daniel Dazi. We'll be back shortly. Thanks for staying with us. Now, landlords are demanding as much as 2 years of advanced payments As we get ready for the Joy News Western World Properties Habitat Fair this weekend, we put the spotlight on the phenomenon. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
Sounds from a pub in one of the alleyways at Mamobi have met David Kondo. David usually sits here to chat with his friends after work. Today, the subject matter is high rent advance. Some weeks ago, David was denied a room at Medina because he was unable to make the upfront payment of 2 years of his monthly rent.
I went to a place at Medina. They asked me to pay 2 years, and a month is almost 300, which times 24. Come on. So I couldn't afford it. I have to use that money for different things altogether. And even where I got and I'm living, he also said, no, I should pay the same 2 years. He was even demanding for 3 years, and I said, I don't have it. Yeah. So I managed it, and I'm here. I work with a good company which take good care of me. I wouldn't say the company is not good, but you have to see, you look at your wife, your children, and you understand the expenses you will do before raising that money at the end of the month. How much are you going to pay for light bill and those stuff?
Frank Leke.
About 200 meters away from where David lives is Franklin Leke. Franklin has rented out some of his apartments. He says some tenants are unwilling to make additional payments when their rents expire.
The tenants, mostly, if you rent a place for them, for taking advance for 2 years, and if, let's say, the advance is finished, and you tell them they should give you extra 2 years or 1 year, they'll be struggling with you. And in fact, if you are trying like this, you can never sack them in a room.
Housing Minister Samuel Atachia on the floor of Parliament sometime last year stated his outfit is determined to enforce a new rent law to protect vulnerable tenants.
When passed into law, a new rent act will ensure that the rights of vulnerable tenants are safeguarded, and also real estate developers are not discouraged from investing in rented housing. Addressing the housing needs of the poorest and most vulnerable, especially women, youth, and those who live in slums, must be a priority to the developmental agenda of our dear nation.
The bill, if approved, will require tenants to pay between 1 month to a year's rent advance instead of the initial 6 months in the existing rent law.
And the Joy News Western World Properties Habitat Fair is aimed at bringing together key industry players in the housing and construction sector to provide all the solutions to your housing needs. This year's event will be at the Providence Event Center from the 21st to the 23rd of September 2018. Now, trade activities, access to healthcare, and even the education of children are being hampered at Akayonga in the Bongo district of the Upper East region. This is because a bridge linking the area to the district capital and other communities has collapsed, making it difficult for residents to cross over, especially when it rains. Joy News' Upper East correspondent Albert Sori has more.
This bridge is over a river separating the Akayonga communities from the district capital, Bongo, and other neighboring communities. It has collapsed right through the middle, and the concrete slabs are still lying in the river. This means whenever it rains heavily, residents within Akayonga cannot cross over to Bongo to trade in the market or even to seek health care at the Bongo hospital in case of emergency. The most affected are the farmers in this area because it is now harvest season and the broken down bridge makes it difficult for them to sell their produce at the markets in neighboring communities or at the Bongo market.
When it was there, it was easy for farmers to cross from Tankon, Naire, and Demboku to the market to sell their food produce. But since the collapse of this bridge, it's a hindrance to the farmers over there. Besides that, many teachers absent themselves from school days because of this broken bridge. And people's absenteeism too is also very high.
So it has even cut the communities. Now we don't have link to this and that. If it is raining and I'm over there, I have to just be there for the whole time. So my activities there will not be there. So there's no way you can be here when it's raining and you were able to come here. So I am just trying to plead that the government, if there's any way they can do to support the community.
This is not the only community in this area that has been cut off from its neighbors. At the Dua Kantia community, still in the Bongo district, there is no bridge at all, so residents here have to wade through the river to cross to other communities. But this is possible only when it does not rain. Whenever it rains and children are still in school, we come and wait here by the river to see if we can help our children to cross and come home. When the river's current is strong, we tell the children to wait on the other side till we are sure they can safely cross the river. It is even worse when a woman is in labor, because we often get here with such women and there is nothing else to do than to stand here and helplessly watch the river.
I can cite an instance whereby one guy, he came this way to buy meat, to take this meat to the market site. And incidentally, he fell into the river and got drowned. Just recently, this year, this rainy season, one lady was coming to the market. She didn't know that the river was, it rained upwards. So she was trying to cross the river when the water came and swept her off. And she died too.
According to a cooperative farmers association in this area, the lack of access problem created by the absence of bridges over these two rivers has had major consequences on agricultural trade, not only in the communities in which the rivers are located, but the surrounding communities as well. Alfred Asebila is the coordinator of the association.
One thing Busak Fund normally wants us to do is to carry out an evidence-based research. And then during the research, we discovered that because of the absence of the bridge, our farmers are not able to maybe move to the Akaonga market. Likewise, others are not able to move into the community to trade with them. This particular river is so big that if you look at this infrastructure that they have built, it could not contain the force of the water. And so one of the recommendations during the research is that we need a steel bridge.
This bridge first collapsed in the year 2014 and has continued to break down further ever since. Until it is repaired, socio-economic life among the people here will continue to suffer setbacks, especially in the rainy seasons. From Akayonga in the Bongo district of the Upper East region, Albert Sori, reporting for Joy News.
Now, there are scores of school-going age children still out of the classroom due to poverty at Ningo in the Greater Accra region. While their mates are in schools, the out-of-school children are either assisting their parents at the beach or just idling about. On Joy News Agenda today and part of our Enroll Me Now campaign, some of the out-of-school children have been telling Joy News' MFA Etiama Eli why they are not in school.
Though parents and guardians appreciate enrolling their children at the right age, a major setback in their quest is poverty.
In this society, since it's a farming society and fishing society, so they, at times coming to bringing them to school is very difficult. At times they do help their parents to go and fish and go and help them at the farm.
Some of them, they come to the beach to get fish to sell and get money because they are financially down. So, and the parents cannot afford.
Ningo is one of Greater Accra's oldest coastal communities. just like many other fishing communities. Early childhood education is still not impressive here. It is common to find children idling at the beach at the time their mates are in school.
My head, my shoulders, my knees, my...
A few go there mainly to help their parents and guardians in their fishing business. Others too, just to while away the time.
My name is Raymond Akono. I don't go to school. I am 9 years old. My father is unavailable. My name is Alfred Kwe Norte. I am 5 years old. My mother doesn't have money, so I don't go to school. My name is Felix Blemano. I am 15 years. I am not well, so I don't go to school. I need someone to help my mom to take me to the hospital so I can go back to school.
Now, the second lady, Samira Baumia, is in Agona Nyakromi in the Central Region to commission a newly constructed kindergarten block of Holy Quran D Primary School. The second lady will also welcome new entrants as this year's My First Day at School program. That will come up later in the bulletin. Stay with us. This is Joy News Today. We'll be back shortly.